TIL psychiatrist Avicenna had a malnourished patient who believed he was a cow ready to be slaughtered. Avicenna, impersonating a butcher, came to kill him but said the cow was too lean and had to eat more. The patient ate more food, which restored his health and cured the delusion. You're generally taught never to feed into delusional thinking and try to ground the person in reality. But there are exceptions, but most of the time they backfire on you. I was taking care of a dementia patient who had to check the mail. I kept redirecting, but this was the one thing they could remember. Eventually I just lied and said it was Sunday. No mail to check. But he had something else he did on Sundays I now had to deal with. Eventually I was able to convey to him it was 8 p.m. on a Thursday and he was in the hospital. Then he said, I just get so mixed up these days, in a moment of lucidness. Guy was awesome and talked about his youth a lot. Those formative memories stick around the longest. Weird, I was literally just reading about Avicenna last night. One of his quotes may be my new favorite. The knowledge of anything, since all things have causes, is not acquired or complete unless it is known by its causes. Quite the stretch to really call Avicenna a psychiatrist. My friend is a doctor. He had a patient in a wheelchair who claimed she couldn't walk. There was nothing physically wrong with her. He told her that her ability to walk should return within 6 months, and sure enough, she was cured within that time. I guess sometimes it helps to validate someone else's experience even if it's not real. A woman brings her husband to Dr. Avicenna. Sir, for the past 3 years, he thinks he is a chicken. Taken aback, the old physician asks why she did not bring him sooner. Well, you see, she responds, we really needed the eggs. If I was that cow/man I would stay skinny to not get slaughtered. A man believes that he is a kernel of corn, and goes to a psychiatrist who, after several treatments, finally convinces him otherwise. He leaves the office relieved, until he runs into a chicken on the street. He turns and runs back, terrified of being eaten, and asks the psychiatrist what he should do. The psychiatrist replies, but why are you afraid? You know you aren't a kernel of corn. The man replies, yes, but does the chicken know? Avicenna was probably the second most influential physician in history, but not a psychiatrist. What did Instagram influencer Pythagoras say about it? What a moving story. We have a psychiatric inpatient who could be quite oppositional when being asked to do patient things because he thinks he is a nurse on the ward. Delusion. An actual nurse on the ward made him a fake nurse badge and re-described the patient things as nurse things, and now the patient complies more. Clever. Yes, but the actual nurse is probably going to be fired for encouraging the delusion, unless they can demonstrate how it helped the patient. If I remember correctly, there's a story on Reddit about how a lawyer got a client who complained that his house is haunted. So the lawyer went to the house and served the ghost eviction papers, which made the client felt much better. Anyone know what I was talking about? Avicenna, bro. Let's give Avicenna's dad a shout out. Yasina. Your son was amazing. Cool story, 2 thumbs up. More recently, there was a story about a psychiatrist who had a patient who believed he was Jesus Christ. So he got 2 orderlies to dress as Roman centurions, put on a toga, and came to him carrying 2 large pieces of wood and some nails. Apparently the patient soon insisted that he wasn't actually Christ. Good old Avicenna. Mashallah. Deleted. That's some good headology. Lesson: sometimes you need to listen to what the person needs, abandon your perspective and truth, in order to help them heal or be understood. Modern problems require modern solutions. I think it's about meeting people where they're at instead of where you want them to be. Maybe call him by his real name Avicenna and not the one the West uses for him. If I were a cow and a butcher let me live because I was too skinny, why would I risk being slaughtered later by eating and fattening myself? Ah yes, the negotiator. My grandfather was a physician and was caring for a woman with psychosis. She wanted a letter from the Archangel Gabriel confirming the doctor's opinion. So, he wrote a letter from the Archangel, had it elaborately sealed and delivered. She followed the treatment and totally recovered. Gotta meet patients where they are at. When I grow up, I want to graduate from Bovine University. Crazy problems need crazy solutions. It's a shame that so many people think that everyone struggling with mental issues are just one magic word away from being cured. I struggled with depression in my early 30s and it drove me so mad when people were thinking telling me jokes or something would fix me. Then it got even more counterproductive, when people felt the need to force their jokes and good mood on me, then get angry when I according to them was stubborn and didn't snap out of it. BTCH I'm a cow, BTCH I'm a cow, I'm not a cat, I don't say meow. Didn't know I was also a psychiatrist as well as a DJ huh. This is literally the kind of logic I had to use with my dementia patients. People are weird. I took care of an elderly patient once that was convinced her body was made out of soap suds and, also, that she had to have immediate emergency surgery to have all the bones in her body removed. It was interesting. Not dementia. Not Alzheimer's. So wait, so he didn't want to eat because he thought he would get slaughtered, but when she said he was too lean and needed to eat more before she would slaughter him, that caused him to eat? That is meeting a person where they are at. Wouldn't the patient avoid eating, knowing that if he/she fattened up he/she would be slaughtered? Wow, that sounds like headology. Often it doesn't work to argue with a delusional patient that their delusion isn't real. Sometimes you have to play with it, acknowledge it, then guide the delusion so it is less harmful. His name is Avicenna. Don't westernize him for no reason. Oh. Is this about that disorder in which you believe you are already dead? That patient's name? Ronald McDonald. We would have cured him sooner, but we needed the milk. Sounds like that could be an NPC in the game Pathologic. Cue Doja Cat's hit song, Moo. Tip 101, How to get free food from a madman. This makes no sense to me. Wouldn't telling the patient to eat more scare the patient because he would think the butcher was trying to fatten him up for slaughter? You know I'm studying to be a psychologist. And I wouldn't even know where to begin with someone thinking they were a cow. So mad props to him for his creative thinking. Because my tactic would be trying to figure out the root of the delusion, but obviously if looking for the root would have worked, he wouldn't have had to pretend to be a butcher. Sounds like a House MD episode. Randy, you're not a cow. Moo bitch, get out the way. Sometimes you just have to play the game. How'd that work? He thought he was a cow up for slaughter, so starved himself to not be called. So, they reinforce the delusion by stating they need to put more weight on to be called. Surely this would have encouraged further fasting. So basically, you're not you when you're hungry? I'll see myself out. Physician, psychologist, philosopher, polymath, or astronomer are all accurate descriptions. Psychiatrist is not. So the patient had a death wish? If he thought he was a cow and that they were going to slaughter him, why would he fatten himself up? Avicenna was a general physician, a surgeon, a psychiatrist, and philosopher of great merit, and an authority on spirituality. Often described as a savant or genius of his time, Avicenna's canon of medicine was so influential, though he practiced in what was known as Persia, he was accepted by Europe as the successor of Hippocrates, and the father of modern medicine. Every parent with a toddler uses this trick LOL. How to call a bluff 101. Wait, so he wanted to be butchered. Shortly after, a long argument with the doctor ensued over whether it could have been lupus and whether he was trying to get himself fired, and the hospital sued. The doctor laughed and drank until his boss left the room in frustration.